Carl Jung said, "Embrace your grief, for there your soul will grow." It's a beautiful sentiment and undoubtedly true. As most of us can attest to, we certainly grow through our difficult experiences. But I hate to be glib when it comes to grief because it's so incredibly painful. And while we may understand that growth and evolution comes certainly from a human and spiritual perspective after we endure grief, it is not fun, and it's one of the most challenging aspects of being a human. So I wanted to share with you from this great book by Martin Prechtel. I'm not sure if I said his name right. Anyway, bear with me on that one. The Smell of Rain on Dust, and it's about grief and praise. And in the sense that grief is actually praise for something that we deeply loved but no longer have. So this is the book here, The Smell of Rain on Dust. It's a wonderful read, and he's a pretty interesting fella, thinker, as he calls himself, writer, teacher, really insightful stuff. And there's some great interviews and presentations by him on YouTube if you're interested. And certainly if you're going through grief right now, you may find it helpful and help your heart have a little bit of ease. But I wanted to just read a small passage to you right now, just so we can have a little bit of a perspective on grief. If we try to see our entire lives in one broad sweep, what becomes obvious is that in every stage of normal existence, just when we begin to feel expert and comfortable, that is exactly when the nature of life's restless heart forces us to move completely out of that previously comfortable era into one in which we are hopelessly inexpert. And I'm sure we can all attest to this. As soon as we feel comfortable, there's always that proverbial wrench thrown into your plans. In every stage, it is as if we have to learn how to live all over again. Though normal and unavoidable, often these natural life changes can be experienced as deep losses. The grief of growing from child to adolescent, or giving up adolescence to become a man or woman, or from having parents to losing our parents, or the grief of raising children who are golden, original, mind-boggling, beautiful sprites who become teenagers who hate us and want to get as far away from us as possible, or the grief of watching these same kids become adults as limited, afraid, and rigid as we are. Or how we change from revered living idols into frail, forgotten heroes who no longer have the strength to lift the hoe or catch the cow, etc., are just a few of the stages of living filled with grief that are totally expected. For this reason, though natural, common, and anticipated, it is also just as right that we should deeply express these changes as losses through grief. For this reason, in most of the world's natural cultures, these changes are understood and experienced tribally as lines that must be crossed ritually with the help of the entire village. Rite of passage ceremonies are not just for young people to pass into adulthood. Life change rituals should accompany every stage of life and anticipate the people's full expression of grief. For this reason, natural culture doesn't need to address life changes with therapy because they anticipate these changes and have a place for the grief. These rituals of life changes are the major parts of their tribal everyday spiritual existence. In this way, grief is not left hanging, but is converted into ritual beauty and culture-supporting continuity, which is not only experienced by the people in a massive communal way, but in a massive communal way, these rituals also have the people giving life back to the divine that gives them and their world life. I'm wondering if you live within a culture that celebrates rites of passage throughout your entire existence. Probably not a lot of people in the culture, at least in which I grew up in, have that sort of opportunity. Martin is speaking about tribal cultures and how things are celebrated, while you're also allowed to grieve and understand that leaving and changing can be painful, and that's okay. And that you should feel that pain and you're supported throughout that process. And wouldn't that be nice? Think about that as I enter middle age and grow older and see many changes happening that I don't find are particularly celebrated within the society that I'm living in right now. So I wonder if this is something that maybe I could give some thought to as far as what's happening for women within my age range, or for just people in general getting older. Wouldn't it be cool if we celebrated that? I'd love to hear if there's something within your culture or within your life that you do to celebrate change, as well as rituals around grief. Love and support you on your journey, and we'll talk again soon.